everybody, and welcome to another edition of Joe's RodShop podcast. I'm your host, Joe Van Sale. As always, remember, go click that like or subscribe button. Doesn't matter what platform you're on, there's always a like or subscribe button. You actually get notifications when we put one of these things out. All right, now before we get started, next week we are very excited. We'll be launching a new thing along with a company. It's to do with car leasing. It's quite exciting. It's very new. I was completely blown away by this. Now, if you are a company and you need a fleet of cars or you need a bunch of bakkies and stuff, this is going to be the episode for you. So guys, next week, Thursday night at 7, stay tuned because I think this thing's going to blow your mind. Really, really cool. All right. Now, for today's show, we have Stefan Kotzé on the show. Now, he's been all over the place. I mean, if you've seen custom cars or something in South Africa on Facebook or something, yeah, there's a very good chance he's the guy that's been shooting it. He also now works for cars.co.za, but is best known for working with Speedhunters, which everybody, I don't know, any petrolhead that's out there probably knows online who Speedhunters is. He's a really cool guy, and I love how he got to do his dream. And he's a real cool guy to talk to. He used to shoot a few things for SA Hot Rods in the day. Yes, Stefan. And we are live with Stefan Kotzé. How are you doing, bro?
Good, you, man. Yeah, it's nice to catch up, huh? It's been a while.
I'm actually wondering how many people, I mean, so many people have seen your photos, but I don't think a lot of people actually know what you look like.
Yeah, that's the way I like it. I love taking photos, but I hate photos. You know what I mean?
Oh, don't worry, my wife's the same. When I've shot TV shows and stuff, she kind of like runs away constantly. Yeah,
I know.
So, dude, you've had a seriously interesting career. I mean, look, let's first of all say it's not easy being a photographer in South Africa or motoring.
Yeah, I know.
Because there's like a million people that want your job. They want to do what you do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Especially like at the level of where you are. Now,
yeah.
First off, where did your career start off with?
Well, actually, I was gonna go when I was in school. I thought I would go into IT, which because I've always been into computers and stuff, and I still dig computers and I still build computers and stuff. But I was like, if I have to do that for the rest of my life as a job, I'll probably die.
Yeah. Same here.
Yeah,
I also
I'll probably have to like grow like super long hair and like never wash it. But you know, I'm going bald, so it's at least that couldn't happen anyway. So I'm wearing a cap.
So how did everything get started?
And then I pretty much after school I did a bit of IT work, and I was like, no, I do this. And then I actually went to go study photography. Not that. Studying photography, I always, when people ask me like, oh, do you need to go study? I'm like, no, it's because you actually learn so little, especially nowadays with digital. I mean, you can just go to YouTube stuff. Like when I started, it was like kind of the last year we were doing film, which was pretty cool. It was a lot of work, but yeah, my first year of studying photography was actually on film. So we still had to do darkroom stuff, develop our own shots and all that kind of stuff, which is nice to learn the technical aspects of it. You know, not that you'd like do any. I actually bought a film camera a while ago, and I've probably taken 3 photos on it, just because you're like, this is expensive, and like you really, it's cool because you really think about what you're taking a photo of. You know, you don't just snap. Like even digital, I kind of try not to just snap because I hate sorting through it afterwards and you just make your life hell. So I try to kind of like as I shoot, I'll delete or just don't shoot just to shoot. So yeah, so it was nice learning that fundamentals and stuff, and then. Pretty much before that, I always liked cars, but there wasn't really the space to go into cars when I just finished. This was in 2008. So then I kind of, I actually started out doing, like, I didn't really have a job and didn't have any, so I kind of had to do what I could. So I actually started doing graduation photography for Gordon Harris. They do like most of the graduations in the country. So we literally traveled all over SA and I had to do graduations, which wasn't all that fun. And then, I worked for a production company after that, we were actually doing shooting for security companies. We were digitizing all the security guard manuals pretty much. That was not the greatest, but anyway, those people pretty much like the owners of the company The Monday morning, everyone rocked up, like 20 of us, and they were just gone. And they had liquidated the company, taken the money, and ran away.
Oh,
So yeah, so that's always fun, you know, when you're young and starting out, and that happens. Like, so yeah, we actually took them to CCMA and won the case because there was a few of us. But yeah, that they were very clever. So they stole all the money, and even though we won the case, we were paid out like peanuts. So yeah, that was fun way to start life. And then that was pretty much, yeah, just as I got married, actually. So it was like nice being unemployed when you get married.
yeah.
But yeah, and then I found the job at then the Max Ride thing came along. So it was like 2010. So it's like, yeah, 11 years ago now.
Yeah, we were around the same. I think we were around this. Oh, I launched first, and they came out just after that, because that was competition for speed and sound back in the day.
Yeah, it was similar kind of features and stuff as them.
And between then and now, how much has the market changed? I mean, you must have seen some cool cars. Yeah,
some really cool stuff. I don't know, the SA market's very different than the other market. I mean, we kind of often you see crappy builds here, but you also see cool stuff here just because we don't have the parts availability or the engine swaps. You can just buy a crate motor. So people swap weird engines and do weird builds here just because they can, and often it turns out very cool.
But that's the part I love about South Africa. It's that make a plan scenario that goes into it, you know?
Yeah, because we kind of have to. I mean, often when we do builds here and it gets some international exposure, and guys are like, wow, I can't believe this is in SA. Yeah. And it's a lot of it's because the guys are like, oh, well, I had that engine laying around, or I had this, let me try that.
It's a nightmare when you go to Midas. I mean, I remember when I was building we called it the J Isuzu, that Isuzu, what's it, 79 Isuzu Bucky with the 32-inch tires, and you go to Midas and it's like, hi, I've got a 79 Isuzu, but I'm running 2004 brake disc stuff, and I've got a motor from 1997, and I need this, and they're like, what?
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, they're like, what?
Do you have a VIN number? I'm like, dude, that's not going to help you. This is like nothing anywhere close to what you guys need. Yeah.
But
now you're shooting stuff all over, but now you work with internationally, you work with Speedhunters. And how did that come about?
Yes, man, I think just like, it was always a dream of mine. I was like, oh yeah, what's the chance that'll ever happen? And then I just kind of kept on like always interacting with them, and I was submitting shoots and stuff here and there. And then eventually they kind of liked the stuff I was shooting, and obviously because you need to be able to write and shoot there. So then they kind of liked it, and then it kind of went along. I was actually, I mean, when I had my first Speedhunter shoot, I was working for another company, and like there we weren't shooting much at the time. And I mean, the thing was always there, like, you can shoot your own stuff. And then one of my Speedhunter shoots came up, and they were like, oh, you can't shoot for them. And then I was like, well, this is a dream of mine. So they were like, oh, you can't shoot for them anymore. Then you can't shoot for us. And I actually just said, okay, cool. Well, then I'm going by.
Yeah. No, but I mean, that's a huge opportunity. I mean, that's one of the most recognized online platforms for motoring in the world at the moment.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not even a money thing. Like, it's just like, it's so cool to say shooting for them. Like, I mean, they had some really cool guys like Larry Chen, who's moved on to Hoonigan, and like really cool guys that was shooting for them and that still shoots for them. I mean, I actually made quite good. One of the guys that shoots for us, and he also shoots for Top Gear UK, Mark Riccioni, Mark C Media. You might have seen his stuff. Like, he shoots some really awesome stuff. So I mean, we actually like chat a lot and stuff through Speedhunters, and then eventually he put me in touch with Rowan Horncastle from Top Gear UK. So like Feb, he was out here. We were planning to do some stuff together anyway, like with Mark and me and him. And then like in Feb, he actually came here last year, December, for like a holiday in Kenya. And then he got stuck in SA because he's going to get back to the UK because of restrictions and stuff, which he didn't mind at all, because he was like, miserable UK weather, and he was staying in Simonstown, had the nice view, and got to drive cool cars here. So
I'm stuck in Simonstown. Can't get
I even said when he did his Zoom calls with the guys back in UK, he never showed his view, because his view was literally like the top of Simonstown, and they're sitting in miserable weather.
And then they phone you like, listen, so your flight is next week. Are you sure? Okay, this COVID thing's like really, really going. I think we should.
He eventually only went back. I think he eventually only went back in March. So yeah, he stayed there quite nice and long. And he already asked me, how's the situation is at the moment? He's thinking of coming here when it's winter there, coming back here. So yeah, so anyway, I mean, then we got to work together in like February. I flew down to Cape Town. We shot some cool stuff that some of it's already been published in the UK print mag and on the website and stuff, and still a few more things coming.
But that, dude, that's insane. That's, I mean, for South African local guy, I mean, when you were doing IT, did you ever imagine where you would end up?
Yeah, well, even now, like people are like, oh, you shoot for Speedhunters. I'm just like, oh, I'm just a guy. I just take photos. Like, I don't think of it like that. Like, I'm like,
And when it comes to your builds and stuff, what do you look for speed, or do they have like sort of requirements to look for?
Not really. Like, I'll normally pitch
something interesting.
Yeah, well, there's certain stuff that like immediately I know they'll like I mean, something that just pops up, like comes to mind immediately was like, I did Quentin Boylan's that Lotus with the SLS AMG motor and stuff. So that I knew, like, I mean, that's like a proper one of
crazy build, yeah.
Like something like that, I don't even ask him. I just go shoot it. But like often there's stuff that, you know, similar cars, like for instance, like the Toyota 86s with a 2J swap. There's been like so many of those. So like something like that has to be really special because we featured so many much better ones on the site. So it doesn't always mean if it's a big money build, it's going to be cool. I mean, there's stuff I did, and I forget his name, but you should know the car, that Mini with the V18 and the air ride and stuff.
Yes.
Mike's Mini,
yes, Mike's
so
Mini,
like that. They were also like, this is freaking cool, man. Like those kind of things. It's not a massive big budget build, but it's just super cool.
No, but to me, that's the cool thing about builds is it's not always about big budgets. It's just about how far your imagination can go, you know, and going looking at something differently, you know.
That and the history as well. So I mean, a big thing of the Speedhunter stuff is it's not necessarily about having the best like setup, like even the photos, they want to be more natural and real and stuff. Like it's not about it being the most expensive car. The more important thing there, almost in the car, is the story behind it.
But I used to say that with the magazine. There was nothing that irritated me more than a guy gets you find a car and you go to the guy and you're like, oh, this thing's gorgeous. He's like, yeah, what's the story behind it? I know, I just bought it. Well, who bought it? What went into it? You know, you kind of, it kind of kills everything for you if there's like no proper story or something behind
exactly
it.
And I mean, it's fine if someone just bought a car or had a car bought, but if they had a story of why they wanted this build, you know, like their grandfather had this car, they don't have the technical know-how, but still they want this build, you know, like it's different than someone that's just like, well, I mean, a good example of that car is actually, I mean, you all know that car that's gone, the black Mustang that we featured, that was obviously
the one that
in the accident. I mean, yeah, I mean, that was my cousin's car like that. He doesn't have the technical know to build that car, for instance, but it was always his dream to have a Mustang, but must drive like a modern car. So he got the right guys to build it for him.
Yeah.
But still, it's because he had that passion and lifelong passion for it. It's not just, oh, I want a cool car, just build it for me.
Exactly. Look, that's, how can I put it? But even with that build, there was so much amount of detail and stuff that went into it.
Yeah,
you have to have knowledge. You, as much as you can go, look, you can go to a car shop and you can throw an open checkbook at it. And it doesn't mean you're going to get the best car and stuff out of there.
Yeah, exactly.
That personal choice and what works and why. I mean, I remember there was a build, I think it was Ray Faber's car. They built I think it was a 70 Cougar, Hemi Cougar. And man, that thing had the biggest Hemi motor you could find. Like literally, it was the biggest Hemi he could buy as a crate motor. He put into this because a guy beat him in a Ferrari and all he wanted to do was beat the Ferrari. And I remember with Martin and going through that process, it was like they got the motor and then they destroyed the gearbox. They had to go for a bigger gearbox and then they destroyed that gearbox. And then they got the gearbox right. So then it destroyed the diff. And then, you know, because it was just too much power. And then it destroyed the diff again. And then again, then they finally got to a diff that could handle it. And then there was fuel starvation. And then they had to up to a fuel pump that could handle like 2,500 horsepower to try and get fuel into the thing, because the thing constantly.
Yeah, the one thing just triggers the next thing.
Yeah, exactly. But that's when it, like I said, but Ray was a petrol guy. You know, he was a petrol. He had this dream to build this monster and stuff, and that's what they got to. You know.
Yeah. I mean, for me, like one of the recent stories that we did that's really cool. Well, Naughty's that 2JZ Crusader that we did on Cars of Koza. And I mean, that car was literally like, when I first found out about it, I was like, this car looks so cool, but it still looks like an old car. And when I asked him, the first thing I asked him wasn't how much power it makes. Whatever. I'm like, tell me the story about this car, because I knew there would be one behind it. And he was like, literally like, unfortunately, I would have loved to include it in the stories and stuff too, but he lost his computer, had all the old photos on. But that was literally like his dad bought that car new in 1990. It was a family cars. They went on holiday of the car, and then eventually bought it from his dad. And like, you know, he bought it up like that. Like even in the steering wheel, there's like an old 50-cent coin or 5-cent coin in the steering wheel. And he said this, he told me a story about that. So like when he stripped the car down eventually to tub it and stuff, when he was a kid, he lost like that coin in there one day on holiday, and they could never find it. I don't know, it got into the car that much, but like literally like, so when they stripped the whole chassis and the whole body, he found that coin, and he's like, no, he has to put this in the steering wheel. Like that's like something really cool.
That is brilliant, dude. I see, that's absolutely beautiful.
Or even we did a golf as well the other day, that Golf 5 R32, it makes like mad power. And even that guy, like, you know, he bought that car brand new 8 years ago or 9 years ago. And he raced his brother the first night, and his brother has GTI, and he was like, and he lost. And he was like, okay, cool. Now we're stripping this car. And I got to beat my brother again. And then, like, you know, it's been like an 8-year process. They've also gone through gearboxes and this and that to eventually get it solved. It's not as simple as put money in, it works.
People, you know, okay, I've gone through a lot of cars in my life, crap load of cars. And I recently started looking for a Fox Body Mustang again, because I had this Fox Body that I bought from my friend Will, which was painted with a roller. It was matte black. It had a straight 6 in it. The interior was like 3 different colors, because it came from 3 different cars, and it's like 70s cars, so it's like all porno, you know. So the dash is like brown, and the doors are like blue, and the seats are like this funny red and stuff. And literally, that is one of my favorite cars. It was a complete hunk of junk. I mean, we bypassed the steering column, so you had to flip switches and press start to get the fuel pump and everything going. It was a T-top. It was rusted. We set it up so there was more brakes on the front than on the back, so you could just do burnouts constantly in this thing.
Okay.
And to me, guy, you know, you always think that the most expensive and the fanciest car is the thing that you would remember the most, but it actually turns out it's the biggest hunk of junk that you had the most fun in. Because it's the one car that you didn't care. You know, you didn't care that someone's gonna scratch it. If they scratch it, it's cool. There's another dent. There's a story.
Yeah, it's more character, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, a good story for me like that is that C10 of Marco from Race that we did.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure you remember that one. I mean, he told me the story when he got that. Like, it was also like a client owning money, and they took it as a part trade. And he was like, okay, you'll just put some nice wheels on, you know, keep the patina, do the interior, and then flip it for profit. And liked it so much that like years later, that truck he still has, and it doesn't stand in basement. It stands on the main floor, even in their new showroom there in Kramerville.
Really?
Like, in between all these crazy supercars, that truck still stands there, and he still drives it because it's like so cool. Like, and I mean, someone who builds insane supercars, you won't think that they're going to have a truck like that's going to be one of their favorite things.
But that's the thing that always amazes me is you look at these guys that work with the supercars and stuff, and there's always an old Chevy or something laying back there. You know, there's always some Chevy that's been played with, or everyone's got a little bit of hot rod in them. Doesn't matter what type of petrol.
I think they do. Yeah, everyone thinks like, muscle cars can't turn, blah blah blah, but they still want one. Like
exactly. I said
there's nothing.
There's something that you just want to drive it out into the main road, and it can just do burnouts until the tires pop, you know. And it's just fun.
Everyone thinks it's cool. Like everyone, no matter. I mean, like that Black Mustang, for instance, when we back in Feb, we were shooting it down in Cape Town, and like I still remember we were in Camps Bay, because that's where the car used to stay. And there was a guy that came in his brand new 911 Turbo S, and he came past the like Cafe Caprice and stuff, and like revving the car, and everyone was looking at it like, what a tool. And then I come past in the Mustang, you don't even rev it, you drive normally, and everyone's like, rev it. And you get like old people, young people, guys,
Everybody,
chicks,
dude.
like everyone can appreciate it. Where like a supercars are cool, but like most people will be like,
I did years ago. I drove. It was the first Roush in the country. It was a Jack black car. What was the show? I think it was called Thunder something. They were out in Joburg. They had this car. It's a Jack Roush edition, supercharged black Mustang. And I did a
I
shoot.
think I remember that. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, I
quite
did a
while ago.
shoot for. We did it for Ignition. We were taking it to Swartkorps to go drive. And I remember I went to go fetch the car, and that thing had the most insane supercharged whine you've ever heard in your life. I mean, that was just, it sounded like hell warming up when that thing pulled off. And I was on the N1 in Joburg. And like you said, you're like playing with this thing. And there was a guy with, man, I don't even know what they're called. It's these Peugeots. They look like flat. It looks like they've got, I don't know if they're mid-mounted or whatever. It's like a very sporty Peugeot. And this guy's on the highway, and people are starting to turn around because this whining thing, and he's sitting in the car like he thinks he's like the man. And I come past with this because I had buddies and stuff with me. I come past with this Mustang. This is the first time people were actually, while driving, hanging out a car, trying to take video of a car driving past them. It's the first time I ever saw that. Yeah, I don't know. I think muscle cars and hot rods this is something about it. You know, you can go to any car meet, but if a nice hot rod or something, maybe it's because of the work that goes into it. There's like deep down this appreciation.
I think the work and just the noise and stuff like as well.
Yeah,
the whole.
They always look so angry.
Fuel and, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's awesome. But listen, we're running out of time already. But now, what's next for you, man? Where's the career going now?
I don't know. I'm enjoying the filming. I mean, obviously, I come from stalls, but I mean, I'm filming so much stuff for Cars with Kotzé nowadays. So I mean, that's pretty cool. And I'm doing pretty much all the modified stuff. So obviously, mostly up in Joburg, but we're filming some really cool stuff and finding some really cool stuff. So yeah, I'm really enjoying the filming. Obviously the stalls and stuff too. So yeah, it's I shoot such a big variety of stuff. I mean, it's also not just cars, it's like everything, which is great. Like I say, it's not a bad, it's a good complaining that I can do, but I'm so busy that like the last 2 weeks, like this long weekend was great, not doing anything, because like the last 2 weeks I was shooting every single day and then like editing till 2 in the morning, because you know everyone wants stuff shot last minute and then edited as soon as possible. So yeah, it's not always just fun, but I'd rather be doing that than sitting behind a desk or working for a boss. Or
that's true. The only problem with you is, unfortunately, you have to be out to make money, dude. So you have to sleep every now and then, you know.
Yeah, my boss never gives me off. Yeah, I know. Quite a douchebag. Because that's the problem, you know. If you work for yourself, people are like, oh, why don't you just take a day off? And you're like, yeah, I can, but then like now I've got to catch up.
Yeah,
like,
and
but yeah.
Then people speak to you on weekends, and they're like, and you're like, no, I've got some work I need to do, and they're like, but it's like Sunday. I'm like, yeah, no, that's a great admin day, you know.
Exactly.
Or if it is. Especially with me, I mean, I've got another meeting after this one with some guys in Canada. So I like start early in the morning, like halfway in the day. I go, okay, well, I need to take like an hour or something. People are like, what? You're going to take off now? I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm going to work until like 11, 12 tonight. So, but don't take a breather now. You know, I'm not going to make it.
Same. I mean, after this, I'm like, as soon as this is done, I also got to start working, finish some edits, and then shoot tomorrow morning early. So, but yeah, I'd rather be doing that than be busy than sitting and doing nothing, which, I mean, there's a lot of people that are in that situation at the moment.
That's true. Listen, dude, I love your work. I've always loved your work. You know that.
Thanks,
and man. I think you're doing a great job. And if I come across some cool cars, I'll send them through your side to have a look.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
Because I still get some mails from some cool builds and stuff that's going up. I'll send it through to you. But thanks for being on the show, man. It's really good to act.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Yeah,
we've spoken so much over the phone. I think we've only met once. That was at a running. No, we didn't meet at the running Cape Town.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we were.
Yes, we did.
We just kind of It was
very
like a 2-second meet. Yeah.
No, yes, I was in. Oh yeah, just that that car, the coffee thing that we did. Yes,
Yeah,
it
the
is.
car when cars and coffee were around. Yeah,
Dude, that's like, that's like 5 or 6 years ago already. Yeah.
yeah, it's quite a while ago. Well, I'm coming up to Cape Town soon, so
Okay, bro.
cool, man.
Speak to you later.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.